Hi, everybody.
Hello.
It's okay. We have not stopped laughing trying to do this. Okay. I've done these before. You've all seen them, and I can't do them when he's here. I'm dying. Okay. See, there we go. It was an organic opening. We are going to talk about James 1, which I know Joe talked about a little bit, but I'm going to go a little bit farther.
A little plagiarism. Thanks, Joe.
So 2, James 1, 2 through 8, and then jump into 16 and 17. So I'm going to read them real quick, and then we'll chat. So, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. Don't be deceived, my dear brothers and sisters. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like the shifting shadows. Would you like to start? I'll go first. Okay. So, I was actually walking the dog when this verse popped into my head. I hadn't even read it yet, and I think that was the Lord. We were kind of talking about it earlier, and I was thinking about, yes, how we're going through a lot of trials and a lot of new things, and we need to persevere through them, and we're going to grow a ton as Christians and as followers of Christ in that area. But within that is this wisdom piece, and we were talking about how a lot of the people or the places that we look for wisdom in our everyday life, they're massively failing us right now. And a lot of people that we trust or that we look to for wisdom are really floundering. I had a client of mine today who, she watches the news. That's like a part of wisdom, I guess, if you want to call it that, worldly wisdom. And the news is all over the place. It was nuts, and she was stressed, and she was almost in tears, and I was feeling overwhelmed, and our government is all over the place. And so I'm just realizing how serious and important the Word is, and how important it is that we're in the Word every day, and how much I've been failing at doing that. And so just on my own part, I've been fighting wisdom in a lot of ways. And I was thinking about it too, how this guy can be really, really wise sometimes. And there's been times in the past couple weeks where he's dropped little tidbits of wisdom, or the Lord has dropped something in my heart that I know is from him. And I prayed for that wisdom, I sought for it, and he gave it to me, and I ignored it. Or I chose to doubt it, like this verse says. And I'm seeing how by choosing not to absorb and just live in the Word during this time, and persevere in wisdom and in truth and in trusting that godly wisdom, I flounder, and I'm no different than the world around me. And so it's so important as Christians right now, if we're going to grow and persevere, to be in the Word. And I'm feeling super convicted myself, and also to realize that the people around us, whether it be our pastors or our government or our friends or parents or whatever it might be, that wisdom is still not God wisdom, not all the time. And so if you're feeling any doubt about someone else's wisdom, go into your Word and back it up, and stand steadfast on what the Lord is saying and is calling you to do. So
I think this verse, the first part of it and the end of it as well. I think I've always enjoyed that first part, count it all as joy. I've always been someone who kind of prides myself on learning from mistakes and learning and growing through trials. And I've had a lot of change in my life, especially in the past few years. And a lot of that has come through trials and difficult times and things that are really hard. And even now, today, I feel like it's still really hard. It's just, it doesn't stop. Like it doesn't feel like us warriors. We should be equipped with the gospel and all these words that God has given us. We should be pretty well equipped for today's world and being able to handle things in a godly manner. And I think that we shy away from that very quickly. Chris's message last week, I think, was really good when he's talking about just what is your automatic response.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when something's going wrong, what is your automatic response? And I think when we look at wisdom overall, I don't think that it's easy to have a wise response on Facebook or Twitter or in court or wherever you want to. It's a little harder to have a wise response with your family or in your personal lives or in your own, just thought process. And I think that everything that's going on right now has been extremely challenging. I feel like this urge to take a stance in so many different elements, and I think that all of it, I don't want to say it's all the devil's just tempting us, but I do think that the devil is trying us and he is trying to cause havoc and he's trying to cause chaos. And dissension between the church and us as Christians in the world and us as Americans. And I think that he's trying to divide us. And I think that biblical wisdom would say that we should unite as Christians, and we should be together, as a church and supporting each other, supporting our leadership, supporting our families, and just really encouraging each other and learning from each other. And I think that looks a lot different than what the world is showing us right now. I think that God would have us acting very differently. And I think that when we first went into this COVID thing, we talked a lot. I heard Joe talk a lot about being a light to the world. And I think that in a lot of ways, I have failed to do that. I've gotten caught up and I've gotten enveloped in what's going on. And I think that God would call us to say, hey, I'm using this time. Like there's a time and maybe something he intended for us to be resting and spending more time with him is turning into something completely different. And I think that for me, reading this was just an encouragement to say, hey, right now things are crazy, and I am joy. I am your happiness. I am your peace. I am the calm. And right now I can honestly say he is the only calm in my life. I feel like there's a ton going on, and I feel like outside of God, like we just, there's not a lot of certainty. There's not a lot of peace. There's not a lot of good. So, yeah. Thanks for listening. You got anything else?
That's it.
Shasta wanted to say hi. All right. Have a good day.
Miss you guys. Bye.